This is how your CELPIP reading exam looks like, and this is the structure you can expect to see in the actual exam. There's a timer running here from 10 minutes and backwards. The 10 minutes is the time given to you for part 1. Part 1 is the easiest section of the CELPIP exam. Then you have part 2, which is harder slightly. Part 3 is even harder, and part 4 is the hardest part. So the difficulty increases as you go down in the parts. All questions are multiple choice questions. You can select them here, and again they're A, B, C, D. So there are 4 options for each question. As you can see, I'm just selecting them here and scrolling up and down. You can scroll up and down also in the passage where the answers are going to come from. You'll have the same capability in the actual exam as well. Now what you can see is on the left you have the passage, right you have the multiple choice questions, making it very convenient for you to see everything in front of your screen. All questions in the reading exam are multiple choice. In this case, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're clearly here next to the question. But when you go to the second section of part 1, this is still part 1, the questions are embedded within a paragraph. So within a paragraph, this is one person writing to the other person, and you want to see where the answers would flow in that discussion. So that is part 1, and this is going to be the format. The passage itself is an email written here, for example, by Charles to Jacob, and all answers that are going to come from this are going to come here on your right hand side. Now when you go to part 2, CELPIP does something very different than other exams. It shows you a picture. So in the picture you will have a bunch of options. It's almost like a brochure, and you will see, for example, here you have a car, you have these qualities or features of the car, then the airplane, then the bike, and these are your travel options for summer. The questions are on your right hand side based on the picture, so you're going to extract information from the picture to answer multiple choice questions here. This is a conversation between Gary and Jason. So Jason is writing to Gary and he is talking about the things you see here, and based on everything he is saying, you want to get answers from what you can see or notice in the picture. After this little conversation, you would have a few questions later on, and these things ask you about what is Jason and Gary's relationship, and you will pick an answer here. This is related to this email that you saw up here. Based on what you read, what are your answers to these questions? And now while I was explaining, it ran over 1 minute. The total time you have for this task is 8 minutes. This is task 2 of your CELPIP reading. Now we go to CELPIP reading task 3. Remaining time is 10. This is 10 minutes for this task. This is very similar to IELTS. Here you have A, B, C, D paragraphs, and all you gotta do is match them with the options here. So if the information here is mentioned somewhere here in paragraph A, I'm gonna go ahead and pick A as the answer. But if this information was mentioned in D, I'm gonna put D here as the answer, and so on. So this information could be here, could be here, could be here in the paragraph. It doesn't have to be at the start, it could be anywhere. So you really have to read carefully every sentence to get answers to these questions here. It's much easier than it looks. All you got to do is follow the right strategy, and if you want reading tips and tricks, please subscribe to our channel and check out our previous videos on CELPIP reading. Now at the end, this says E, which is not given. All you would do is simply put E next to a question that was not mentioned anywhere in the rest of the paragraphs. If it is not given, you simply put E, and that's all you got to do. Finally, we move to part 4, the hardest part, and here the time remaining is 12. You have 12 minutes for this section. It is very similar to part 1. However, here you don't have a letter or email. On the left hand side, you have a debate between 2 or more people. It's usually an argument that takes place, and based on this argument, you have to answer the first 5, 6, or 7 questions here, talking about this passage and what it was mentioning. Once you're done with that, you get another bunch of questions that are embedded in this comment paragraph. So what this says is this is a comment or an opinion from someone who read this article, and they're now giving their opinion. So what would they say based on the articles they have read? would they say option A, B, C, D? And that's what you got to find out and answer within this passage. Now again, guys, CELPIP overall is considered, as per our experience, the easiest exam among the three options, IELTS, PT Core, and CELPIP. So this reading test is a little bit of a reflection of that. As you can see, the passages are much smaller, and everything is based on the context. If you understand this well, you can easily answer all these questions. However, once you go to parts 3 and 4, things do get a little difficult. So to make sure you have the right practice, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. You'll be notified of all our upcoming videos on CELPIP reading, listening, writing, and speaking.